Well, hello there. 7 days of food, one different food source for the dupes each cycle, was an idea suggested by LumaRaw February 2022. One door will open for each day of the week and give the dupes access to a different food source. As you can see, this symbolizes the new cycle. Since I don't want to wait 600 seconds, I just set this to 48, or I just reset the timer. As you can see, the next door will open, and the next door, and so on, giving the dupes access to a new food source. Since this is 3 tiles deep, the dupes can only reach this tile and not the corresponding tiles to the left or to the right. So let me show you how this works and my smaller version. First we put in different food sources to the right and the system will auto sort them. How does this work? This is pretty simple. You just have a conveyor rail element sensor that filters the stuff that you want to filter. In this case, stuffed berry for the first day, barbecue for the second day, and so on. Pepper bread third, and I think the last day will have different food sources because it just drops all of the rest in this last area here. You sadly can't see the rail, but the rail is just one straight line here with a conveyor rail sensor and a conveyor chute hooked up with a simple wire, just like this. As for the door opening sequence, this is also pretty simple. You set this to 598 seconds or to 600, not exactly sure, and set the green signal to 2 seconds. Then once you reach the new cycle, a green signal will be sent and activate the signal counters. You have to set up your signal counters beforehand, which is a little bit annoying, but basically pretty simple. Place down the signal counters, connect them up with a wire and a bunch of signal switches, which are also all connected to the main wire. Reset the first one to 0, cut or deconstruct the cable in between, activate the next signal switch after deactivating, of course, all of the switches, cut or deconstruct the cable again and repeat. Then you can connect them up, make sure everything is not green anymore. Then you connect it up again and then you have your setup. Of course this can be done differently, but this is just the most simple way I could think of, and you need 7 of those. The negative thing of this is very cold, your dupes will get sick and you will need some gas to transfer the heat. In our case I just used some carbon dioxide, which I pre-cooled, so you need a cooling loop behind this. So this is basically a giant walk-in fridge for your dupes. And this here is a smaller version. Let me demonstrate you that this also works. We will spawn in a dupe and set this fridge here to accept all edibles with a higher priority than the conveyor loader. And now the dupe should only be able to grab the food that is underneath the opened door. The next door opened, the dupe is grabbing the food, delivering it, and now idling around because the dupe can't reach any more food sources, not even this one. But when we reset the timer and the next one activates, dupe, could you not fart here? This was a nice vacuum. The dupe can reach the next food source. Since this is the more compact version, I had to play around a bit with the conveyor rails. This conveyor rail is going like this and dumps all the remaining food sources to the far left. Everything else will be filtered. For the first one we do have the stuffed berry again, then the barbecue, and so on. I deleted the food so we can see the filtering. And there we go. All the food is filtered again. For the automation, I had to play around a little bit more than before, because with 7 doors it is hard to squeeze in all of the automation. Which is why I just try to use the ribbon readers and the ribbon writers. This is set up to 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3. We may have a mistake here because those are set to 1, so this needs to be 2. 3, 4, exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3. And they are not connected here in the middle, so those are 2 different automation ribbons. Now we can just look at the doors and see how this works. And there we go, 7 days of food as well. This also is a walk-in fridge, meaning it is very cold and it will get your dupes sick. You also have carbon dioxide in here to cool all the food forever. But I also do have more versions. So this is the fridge version of this. This works a lot easier for the conveyor rail, since you just do some ladder setup like this and drop the rest to the left and filter out the food that you want to filter each step of the staircase. The food will be sorted here and is only reachable by the according order sweeper if the door opens. This time we don't open the door for a whole cycle, but only a few seconds, because the order sweeper can grab the amount that the dupes will eat for that day. In our case I just set this to 2 kg and transfer it to the refrigerator. Each cycle one of those doors will open for 2 seconds, like right now. The order sweeper will grab the food and transfer it to the refrigerator if the refrigerator is empty at that time. I emptied out the refrigerator. The order sweeper will grab the swampy delights and deliver it to the refrigerator, giving the dupes here to the right access to the refrigerator. Everything that the dupes don't eat and drop on the floor will be picked up by the order sweeper, delivered to the conveyor loader and fed back to the system. You will probably want to have that in a vacuum or cooled as well. Also have a cooling loop running behind those, so you have an infinite storage for each one of these. But of course it doesn't end there. We have this simple version right here, with a vacuum here in the middle. The food is stored here to the left underneath each of these conveyor chutes. I filled in some food, which is now being delivered and auto sorted hopefully. There we go. Now the dupes can only access the food source if the door opens. This time I set it so it only opens at the time that the dupes actually do have a scheduled spot for this. As you can see, Nisbet was able to reach the spot by standing on the mechanized airlock. But of course that's not all. We do have more. This is basically a infinite storage here, which is not cold enough because I don't have any cooling running behind it, but imagine this being an infinite cold storage. With all of the food stored inside, each of the conveyor loaders this time is set to a different food source. This is barbecue, this is omelette, and so on, pickled meat. And once a cycle, this will send a signal and will send exactly 2 kg of food to the right room. So if there is no food, this will grab the respective food source, send it to the conveyor loaders, and each cycle a different conveyor loader will be activated. This has a delay of 5 seconds, and this here is 20 seconds and 20 seconds. Sending a signal to reset the conveyor meter, which is set to exactly 2 units, which is 2 kg. Food is being sent with the conveyor rails here, and everything that is too much will be sent back. Now we do have exactly 2 kg of our pickled meal. But since this doesn't count the calories, your dupes will get different amounts of calories each day, which is kind of annoying, and you will have to grab the remaining food and send it back. So I do have another version, which is highly complicated, and you need math for it. This system is there so you will get exactly 4000 calories each cycle. Same system here to the left. Each of the conveyor loaders is set to a different food source as symbolized by pouring food underneath it. Fill the conveyor loaders, which are in a very cold environment, so this is infinite food storage. Your food can be delivered to this room via this conveyor chute, and this will also feed back the food that you don't need at the moment. But you will need a lot of conveyor rail spaghetti. Each of the conveyor meters has an exact number, which you do have to calculate according to your food source, so you get exactly 4000 calories. This here, for example, filters the mushroom wrap. If you want 4000 calories of mushroom wrap, you will need to have this set to 0.833 units. The next one has 3.33 units and filters out this one, which is roast grapefruit nut. Let's check this. The roast grapefruit nut has been delivered and it is exactly 4000 calories. If we delete this and wait for another cycle or just reset this, we should get a signal. The conveyor loader is sending the food, delivering it according conveyor meter, which will send the respective value 0.667 units to our mess hall, where it will drop as exactly 4000 and, in this case, 2 calories. Sometimes you can't get the right amount because you don't have enough decimal places. So that's it, 7 days of food. Here the calorie counting method, the kilogram counting method, the easiest version but it's pretty big, the version where your dupes don't get cold, one of the versions that I would actually use, the walk-in fridge, which is pretty simple and relatively compact, and a version that you might be able to integrate in a vertical kitchen setup or a vertical mess hall setup. I hope you have a great day, and here are the overlays, in case you want to take a closer look at each of the different sections. I will one day make a proper video on the main channel about this, but until then you gotta live with this more sloppy presentation. Also make sure to not set the conveyor loader to allow manual use, otherwise you will have your dupes running back and forth, delivering stuff to the conveyor loader.